How to find out whether the region that you are living in is impacted by the low-wage LMIA rule introduced by the Government of Canada this week. In this video, we'll dive into this topic. Before we get started, my name is Madhur Parashar. I'm a licensed RCIC. Here's my contact information, and in the description section below, feel free to reach out if you have any questions about immigration. So this week, Canada announced a huge new change to the LMIA and temporary foreign worker system. If your employer is located in a region where the unemployment rate is above 6%, then they cannot file a low wage LMIA. Basically, an LMIA where the wage is below the provincial median wage. For example, in Ontario, provincial median wage is $28 per hour. So an employer filing an LMIA below that wage in certain regions will be rejected. So that is the rule. Now, how do you find out whether you are specifically impacted, whether the area where you are living in or where your employer is located, does that fall under this region? So let's find out. The Government of Canada has a department called Statistics Canada. This department publishes data regularly about unemployment rates across different regions of the country. So they have published a listing of the regions and the unemployment rate. And from there, we can identify which regions and cities have an unemployment greater than 6%. So here is that page, and I'll provide a link to that in the description. Now, if you look at this, the list of regions in this list, it is pretty disappointing. Let's take a look at those some important regions of the country. Unfortunately, it is a lot of bad news. For example, in Ontario, there is Windsor, London, Hamilton, Kingston, Kitchener, Oshawa. These places are all listed as having above 6%. Unfortunately, even Ottawa is listed on that list. And the worst, most depressing news is that even Toronto is listed on that list. The unemployment rate of Toronto is above 6%. It's closer to 7.5%. So that is very disappointing and heartbreaking news. In other provinces, in Alberta, unfortunately, both Edmonton and Calgary have been listed there. In Saskatchewan, Regina has been listed. In British Columbia, luckily, Vancouver and Victoria have not been listed because the unemployment rate here is low. But Abbotsford is listed, which is an important place for agriculture and food processing based LMIAs. So it is quite disappointing for most immigrants because most of the immigrants go to these places and most of the employers who support with LMIAs and job offers are located in these places. So this is pretty heartbreaking, disappointing news. But remember that there are some exceptions to this. For example, certain industries like food processing and agriculture, construction, and healthcare are exempted from this rule. So even if an employer is located in one of these areas, they can still continue to file LMIAs in the low wage category. Now, yesterday I posted some strategies or some 3 options that you can use to get around this issue. So you can so take a look at that video for those options. What I suggested was that if you are located in one of these regions where getting an LMIA is impossible, then you could move to other parts of the country where the unemployment rate is lower because this policy does not apply in that area. So look at that list again, see areas with lower unemployment rates and consider moving to those places or applying to employers in those areas. You could also apply to employers in those exempted industries like healthcare, construction, and agriculture and food processing because the rule does not apply to them. Although the refusal rate for those employers will still increase. So those are your strategies. This announcement is still not completely clear. The government will continue to provide details in the coming weeks and months, and we'll post those details on this channel as they become available. So make sure you subscribe. My name is Madhur Parashar. I'm a regulated Canadian immigration consultant. My contact information is here and in the description. Feel free to reach out with any immigration questions. Don't forget to subscribe.